Let's switch to desktop. Yeah, chat. This is the desktop camera. Now I'll switch to this camera right here.
You're doing great, man.
You think?
Damien and Francois Xavier are seasoned explorers. The combination of their expertise makes for a fearsome team, which offers a new perspective on Canada's natural history. Their goal is to explore the most remote and inaccessible recesses of British Columbia in order to better understand the natural laws that govern them. Today, the two men are flying due north in their ultralight airplane. It's the first day of their great adventure, during which they'll explore Canada's unique West Coast ecosystem, the Pacific Temperate Rainforest. The rainforest stretches for over 2,000 kilometers along the North American West Coast, from the steppes of California to the boreal forest, and east to west from the coastal mountain range to the Pacific Ocean.
What a gorgeous river. Did you see the color of that water?
Yeah, it's beautiful.
That's the hitchhiker cam. That's for lightning.
Gorgeous river. Did you see the color of that water? If I'm not mistaken, this river should lead us directly to the sea.
We almost there.
If I'm not
The
mistaken,
secret behind this ecosystem is its special bond with the ocean. In many places along this stretch, land and sea are so intertwined that it's hard to tell them apart. Indeed, the fates of these two seemingly very different environments are closely bound by a 1,000-year-old cycle of organic matter, a constant flux of nutrients between the ocean and the forest.
Did you see the size of those trees?
What a great spot.
Our adventurers will start their expedition with the seabed. Then they'll travel upriver to observe the mass migration of salmon, a key species for the survival of this ecosystem. Along the way, they'll discover the fascinating world of the coastal grizzly bear. And finally, our two explorers will get to climb a 1,000-year-old tree in the heart of the forest.
Oh, that's the ocean coming up.
Okay, I see him.
Francois Xavier is meeting up with Tavish Campbell, an expert on the region's marine ecosystem. Together, they'll explore the waters of the Johnston Strait, smack dab in the middle of the rainforest. A spot Captain Cousteau once described as being one of the most diverse he'd ever explored.
And there's the beach. That should be doable, right? I think it's big enough?
Yeah, it should work.
Meanwhile, Damien will continue on northwards. His destination, a magical place that the locals call the Great Bear Rainforest.
Easy now.
Too much speed, I need to slow down.
Take your time. You got this. Yes! Nice! Nice!
Oh, yeah!
Whoa, perfect landing.
And a beach landing. Woo!
Fantastic. What a smooth landing.
Have fun, man.
Hi there. How's it going?
Good. You made it.
Yeah, I did. Whoa. Hi there. How's it going?
Perfect.
Good?
Hi, welcome.
Thank you. Good to see you.
Yeah, you too. How was your flight?
It was pretty good, yeah. Beautiful. Really beautiful. Yeah. How are the conditions for diving?
Good, yeah.
Pretty good, yeah. Beautiful.
Wonders of nature.
How are the conditions for diving?
Good, yeah.
Wonders of nature. Imagine a world where the ordinary transforms into the extraordinary, where nature reveals its most surreal and breathtaking wonders. Where nature reveals its most surreal and breathtaking wonders. In this video, we take you on a journey across the planet, uncovering the fascinating secrets of Earth's most unique and mysterious natural phenomena. secrets of Earth's most unique and mysterious natural phenomena. From landscapes that look like they belong on another world, to patterns and events that defy all logic, these are the moments when the planet truly shows off its artistic side. These are the moments when the planet truly shows off its artistic side. Before we dive into exploring the mysterious beauty of nature together, we'd like to share a fun fact with you. In Australia, Lake Hillier is naturally bright pink.
Canada's west coast features quite a unique rainforest, one whose biodiversity has always fascinated ecologists: the Pacific temperate rainforest. The humid Pacific winds unleash a phenomenal amount of rain on the west coast, up to 5 meters per year. Indeed, it's the wettest region in North America. Water gushes everywhere, creating roaring waterfalls and powerful rivers before flowing into the Pacific Ocean. Water provides life along the way, and in certain places, the forest is sometimes akin to paradise.
You're doing great, man.
You think?
Damien and Francois Xavier are seasoned explorers. The combination of their expertise makes for a fearsome team, which offers a new perspective on Canada's natural history. Their goal is to explore the most remote and inaccessible recesses of British Columbia in order to better understand the natural laws that govern them. Today, the two men are flying due north in their ultralight airplane. It's the first day of their great adventure, during which they'll explore Canada's unique West Coast ecosystem, the Pacific temperate rainforest. The rainforest stretches for over 2,000 kilometers along the North American West Coast, from the steppes of California to the boreal forest, and east to west from the coastal mountain range to the Pacific Ocean.
What a gorgeous river. Did you see the color of that water?
Yeah, it's beautiful.
So, if I'm not mistaken, this river should lead us directly to the sea.
We're almost there.
The secret behind this ecosystem is its special bond with the ocean. In many places along this stretch, land and sea are so intertwined that it's hard to tell them apart. Indeed, the fates of these two seemingly very different environments are closely bound by a 1,000-year-old cycle of organic matter, a constant flux of nutrients between the ocean and the forest.
Did you see the size of those trees?
What a great spot.
Our adventurers will start their expedition with the seabed. Then they'll travel upriver to observe the mass migrations of salmon, a key species for the survival of this ecosystem. Along the way, they'll discover the fascinating world of the coastal grizzly bear. And finally, our two explorers will get to climb a 1,000-year-old tree in the heart of the forest.
Oh, that's the ocean coming up.
Okay, I see him.
Francois Xavier is meeting up with Tavish Campbell, an expert on the region's marine ecosystem. Together, they'll explore the waters of the Johnston Strait, smack dab in the middle of the rainforest. A spot Captain Cousteau once described as being one of the most diverse he'd ever explored.
And there's the beach. That should be doable, right? I think it's big enough?
Yeah, it should work.
Meanwhile, Damien will continue on northwards. His destination, a magical place that the locals call the Great Bear Rainforest.
Easy now.
Too much speed, I need to slow down.
Take your time. You got this. Nice! Nice!
Oh, you!
Whoa, perfect landing.
And a beach landing.
Woo! Fantastic! What a smooth landing.
Have fun, man.
Hi there, how's it going?
Good. You made it.
Yeah, I did. Whoa.
Perfect.
Good?
Hi, welcome.
Thank you. Good to see you.
Yeah, you too. How was your flight?
It was pretty good, yeah. Beautiful, really beautiful. Yeah. How are the conditions for diving?
Good. Yeah, they're looking really nice. Yeah, it's great having it calm and
The light is amazing.
oh, this light coming down is going to be awesome. And it's looking pretty clear too. So
Yeah, I noticed. So where are we going exactly?
well, we're just going to go down. It's actually not too far from here, just down around the corner.
Yeah.
It's a nice point that sticks out into the channel. You can see we have quite a bit of current here still, but it's slackening off and it's going to be slack tide and pretty shortly here.
So how come you know so much about this environment?
I've always been interested in it, and me and my sister started diving from a pretty young age, and it's just, you know, it's been our front yard. It's been our front yard and our backyard for our whole lives.
Yeah, it seems like you spend a lot of energy trying to protect this as well.
Yeah, for
Yeah.
sure. And I think that comes naturally to anyone who spends a lot of time in a certain area.
Yeah.
You know, is once you grow to know it and grow to love it, then you want to protect it. And for so long, you know, we dove around here, but it was only us that were able to see the life down there and the colors, and we'd come up just ecstatic about these dives, just, you know, bubbling over with all this enthusiasm and excitement. So now to be able to go down and, you know, have cameras down with us and bring some of this imagery back up to the surface is pretty exciting for us.
The two men jump into the water equipped with oxygen masks and a radio system that will allow them to communicate during the dive.
So we're starting our adventure in the depth of the Johnstone Strait.
Que nous commençons cette aventure, ça peut paraître étonnant à première vue de commencer.
It may seem odd to begin exploring a forest by way of the seabed, but we'll soon see that part of the source of the abundance of the forest
L'océan que repose
lies under the surface of the ocean.
l'abondance des forêts terrestres. Ces deux écosystèmes
These two ecosystems, the marine and the rainforest ecosystems, form an indivisible whole.
indissociables.
And between these two ecosystems, there's what's known as a keystone species. A keystone species is so crucial to its specific environment that the latter couldn't survive without the former. In this specific case, salmon is the keystone species. We'll see that Pacific salmon spend one part of their lives in the ocean and the other one in the terrestrial river system. And it's precisely this journey from ocean to forest that we'll try to follow. And Pacific salmon will act as our guides for the duration of this program.
So you can see as we move along the cliff here, we're starting to see some plumose anemones. These large white things looking like cauliflower. And they're a filter feeder, just like these tube worms. See these big fields of tube worms?
There's just so much life clinging on to these rocks.
These currents that we're feeling here are the exact reason there's so much life along this cliff. All these colorful species we're seeing along here, the majority of them are filter feeders. So when you're a filter feeder and you rely on the feed to come to you, It makes a lot of sense to be situated where the current is flowing past you, bringing lots and lots of food every day.
Tavish and Francois Xavier are swimming in a soup of plankton. It's the main source of life on this reef. Plankton is composed of tiny plant or animal organisms that drift along the currents of the planet's vast oceans. Plankton is crucial to the ocean's food chain. However, as it needs sunlight to survive, it can grow only in the first 40 meters below the surface of the water. This is known as the photic zone. The vast majority of marine species live in this zone. However, plankton eventually dies off and sinks to the bottom, thus continuously depriving marine life of sustenance-providing nutrients. What allows this ecosystem to maintain its balance are what are known as upwelling waters. Upwelling waters are strong marine currents that well up from the depths, carrying along with them the nutrients that have collected on the seabed and propelling them towards the surface. It's this constant mixing of the ocean waters that allows this part of the world to be so full of life. Tavish and Francois Xavier have reached the end of the photic zone. But instead of plunging deeper in the depths, they prefer to head towards another kind of aquatic paradise.
Cet endroit est tout à fait
This place
extraordinaire.
is really incredible.
J'ai l'impression que nous pénétrons dans une
It's like entering a sort of seaweed forest.
fête d'algues.
So this is a beautiful example of a bull kelp forest. Look at this towering three-dimensional structure that it gives the ocean. The kelp forests play an incredibly important role, providing habitat for a number of different species in the ocean. All the way from the largest fish down to the smallest little invertebrates, including young rockfish and salmon. So this bull kelp is actually an annual species, and it's some of the fastest growing seaweed in the world, sometimes growing up to 2 feet per day. So over the course of the season, this kelp will grow up to sometimes 20 meters in length, providing incredible structure in the ocean. So you can see here we've come across a little bit of an urchin barren. But you can see after the sea urchins have moved through, all you're left with on the bottom is some encrusting coral and algae, and all the seaweed has been eaten off the bottom. So if we turn this sea urchin over, we can actually see its mouth part here. So right in there you can actually see it's eating 2 pieces of kelp right there. It's eating 2 frogs of bull kelp. Right underneath. So we've caught him red-handed. So historically, when we had sea otters on the coast, the sea otters would prey upon the urchins and keep the urchin populations in control. And when the sea otter was hunted to extinction on this coast for its furs, then the sea urchins didn't have their natural predators. So the sea urchin populations exploded, and subsequently they ate down all the kelp. And the kelp forests like this are very rare to find nowadays, because the sea urchin populations are so large.
In 1968, the government of British Columbia reintroduced sea otters on part of the coast, and the results were almost immediate. In the most repopulated areas, the kelp forests and all of their inhabitants have made a huge comeback. Everything is interconnected here, like links in a chain. Break one link, and the whole chain comes apart. Summer on the west coast is coming to an end, and under the leaves of the trees of the rainforest, an amazing story is unfolding, that of a crucial 1,000-year-old exchange between the ocean and the forest. It's a story of life and death, of a great destiny, and of an epic journey. It's the story of salmon. In the icy waters of a mountain river, Pacific salmon have reached the end of their journey. Their ancestors started coming here over 6 million years ago. They've been coming to this coast since the start of the last ice age, and certainly well before the first humans ever set foot here. Each summer, hundreds of millions of salmon undertake one of the world's most amazing migrations. From the depths of the Pacific Ocean, they swim thousands of kilometers upriver, as far as the deep forest, in order to reproduce at the exact spot where they were born. Their journey literally defines the fate of the West Coast. They are the most important link between the ocean and the forest. Upon contact with the fresh water, the salmon stop feeding and begin an impressive mutation. At the end of their journey, they start to decompose and embark on the last but most important days of their lives. In the darkness of the undergrowth, they're all searching for the ideal spot to deposit their offspring. A gravel bed, neither too small nor too big. A slight current for the oxygen, but not too strong. The female then digs a nest with her tail and delicately deposits her eggs. The male then adds his sperm. After that, the couple need only to protect their treasure while awaiting their own demise. A 100 years of human development have nonetheless greatly altered this epic journey. To maintain plummeting salmon stocks, mankind has come up with a simple and efficient solution. Today in British Columbia, over 10% of the salmon that swim upriver will arrive at vastly different spawning grounds. In the hatchery that substitutes for their gravel beds, salmon are collected and then sorted according to species. The females are stripped of their eggs and the males of their sperm. Then eggs and sperm are mixed together and placed in an incubator. A few months later, a much greater number of young salmon than nature is able to produce is released into the river. Because this allows mankind to maintain not only salmon stocks, but also industrial fishing, hatcheries have become a necessary evil. However, on the coast, certain people have a different take on things.
Like when they're all lined up like that, you can just count them one at a time. All right, Rob, I'm gonna work back to you now so we can kind of count these together. I'm Will Atlas. I work for Cucks Project Society as Salmon Program Coordinator based in Bella Bella. Well, Cucks is a community organization in Bella Bella that has almost a 10-year track record of running science programs that support Healthsick-led stewardship of resources that are important to the Healthsick First Nation.
The Healthsick we're a band of First Nations people have inhabited this place for over 13,000 years and have depended pretty heavily on all of our resources for sustenance and survival. Probably about 4,000 band members, one of the bigger reserves and tribes on the central coast of British Columbia. We're salmon-driven people. Everything that we depend on is also dependent on salmon.
NS stands for natural senescent, basically fish that died naturally after spawning. BK is bear kill, wolf kill. We talk a lot about the sort of salmon crisis or the challenges facing salmon in some ways, and I think that to a certain degree that's true, particularly in places where urbanization, agriculture, forestry, other land use change has essentially fundamentally altered their habitats.
10 NS chums and 3 NS pinks. 2 bear kill chum and a bear kill pink.
But still, I mean, in the Central Coast region, we have very intact, healthy habitats. And if you think about intact habitat as the principal in your bank account, we have a very full bank account here. So salmon are well equipped to weather the potential, impacts of the coming century if we can protect habitat or continue to protect habitat here and also make sure that we're not over-harvesting these populations moving forward.
6 NS pinks.
We get an estimate of the total population using mark recite techniques where we walk the spawning creeks in the fall and recite both tagged and untagged fish. And from the ratio of tagged and untagged fish, we're able to expand that to an estimate of the total population size. It can be, challenging. It's a long season. We start in mid-April with the smolt trap, and we go till the end of July. But overall, I mean, it's a very rewarding work, and the guys that we get to work with are, really great. And so there's a lot of camaraderie and a lot of jokes, and it's a pretty excellent lifestyle, actually. I mean, it's such a small distance, but I'm curious to see whether there's any sort of asynchrony in, some years you have more fish spawning down here than up there, and vice versa. Mm-hmm. We run fish weir, where we capture a large number of the sockeye that are migrating upstream to spawn. So a fish weir is basically a picket fence in a river, and it's designed to sort of channel fish into a certain area. We live on the river, and we monitor the weir, we maintain the weir every day, throughout the day, and we tag the fish with individually visible tags. That allows us to look at migration rates through the lower river because we actually conduct snorkel counts twice a week from the lake down to the weir. I mean, there's evidence of weirs going back 5,000 or 6,000 years on the BC and Alaska coast, so that's an ancient technology.
There was lots of stories about, the creeks being so full of salmon that you could run across and not get your feet wet. What we're doing is fighting back, looking at a more in-depth approach to salmon populations through projects like the Quay Weir, so that we can, say, X amount of sockeye are in the river, so, you can go ahead and fish. Or it's a dry season, no more fishing until the sockeye can get in the river.
Just pulling out the otoliths, which is the ear bone. And the otolith, like a ring of a tree, records growth rings for every year of the fish's life, but you can tell the years by a tightening of the rings, which is indicative of slower growth during winter. So these otoliths will basically tell us how long each of these fish spent at sea before returning. And so when they were spawned in the gravel here at Quay. Salmon have always been, a resource that is fundamentally, when best managed at a local scale. And so I think the people that live, in and around the watersheds where salmon return ought to be the ones that principally harvest them and manage them. They also have, you might say, more skin in the game. They have more at stake.
Well, the future is now. If we don't stand up for these sockeye populations, for these grizzly bears, for these trees, for all of these resources in the land and sea that don't have a voice, then none of our children to come are going to have the opportunity to live the life that we're living right now.
Spring has arrived on Kauai River, and life comes into its own again. From the icy waters that have seen their parents' demise, young salmon emerge. These in turn will soon let themselves be carried off by the current towards the Pacific waters, so that they too can fulfill their great destiny. Damien is now in the Great Bear Rainforest, along with bear expert Tim Irvin, where they'll try to observe grizzly bears. Because they eat so much salmon, grizzly bears are actually key players when it comes to the flow of nutrients from sea to forest. This beaver hydroplane will transport the camera crew and all their equipment to a floating lodge in the heart of the Smith Estuary, in the middle of grizzly bear country.
Yeah, they're pretty amazing boats, eh?
Yeah.
What I love about being here is all like the, you know, all this mist and everything in the trees, right?
Yeah, it's amazing.
It's just so, it's so beautiful and has a real ethereal feel to it.
Why is it such a special place for the bears there?
Well, I think that the first part is that this is the biggest piece of temperate rainforest left in the world. Here in the Great Bear Rainforest, it's the largest intact piece. And so just on that note alone, because there's a big intact wilderness here, it means there's a lot of good habitat for bears. It's not interrupted by human activities in the way that it is in many other parts of the world. And the other thing about this environment that makes it really great for bears and supports a lot of bears is that it's a really productive environment. We have the ocean and the forest, and they mingle together, so it becomes a very rich environment with a lot of nutrient sharing between the ocean and the forest. And there's a lot of food, so it can support a lot more bears than some more sparse environments. But then in the fall, when you get that concentrated food source in the form of salmon in the river valley, you know, we could have as many as between 40 and 60 bears using this river valley.
That's impressive.
So we'll get out here and we'll head upstreams where you can get a better chance to see salmon spawning in the shallow water where bears can get access to it.
Okay.
We're getting up towards where the fish are spawning.
Okay.
Where the bears are actively hunting the salmon. So we have to be really careful because we could bump into a bear literally at any moment here. Hey, bear.
It is pretty dense here, yeah?
It's really dense. The sight lines aren't very good, so you hear me yelling, hey, bear, every now and then.
Okay.
That's so we don't startle a bear. The worst thing you want to do is startle a bear because you force it to make a fast decision, and if it chooses to defend itself, it's very dangerous for us. You smell that?
Mm-hmm. It smells a bit rotten, eh?
I smell something stinky. Oh, yeah. Yeah, we've got something up here. Hey, bear.
Oh, yeah, it smells pretty strong.
Wow, yeah. Check this out.
Some leftovers?
Yeah, we're hot on the trail now. What do you think we've got here?
That's some salmon there.
Yeah, so this looks like this is what's left of a chum salmon. You can actually see the jaws here. You can see these big teeth.
Yeah.
Chum salmon get these really enlarged teeth during spawning that they use to attract females and fight off other males. Definitely not much left of this guy. Mm-hmm. But you can see those giant teeth that are very typical of a spawning chum salmon, especially a male. They get really enlarged. In some ways, it's kind of like, you think of like the really large antlers on a moose,
really
which seems to be part
teeth,
of the sexual selection of these species. Yeah, they're really impressive.
Oh. What happens to what's left of all this?
If we came back in a few days, this would be covered in maggots, and you come back a few days later and just be stripped clean, just be a perfect skeleton. But what happens is the bear's going to wander off, and the bear's going to urinate and defecate in the forest, and it's going to take all the nutrients from this fish and spread it around the forest as it does that. In the meantime, the nutrients from this carcass are going to melt into the forest and be absorbed by the roots. So these salmon are born here in these rivers in the forest. They go out to the ocean, and they absorb all these nutrients from the ocean. They come back up here, and they die in the bears and the wolves and the nursery for the fish, and in turn, the fish come back and fertilize the tree. There's mother and 2 cubs over there.
Right there,
You see them through the woods?
Yeah.
Wow, she's a beautiful bear.
So big.
Yeah, she's a healthy bear.
Oh, and you can see the salmons jumping around.
Yeah, so you can see what I mean? See how the shallow water over there?
Yeah.
You can actually see the tails of the salmon out of the water. Wow. Yeah, those cubs are pretty healthy looking here. Take a look. This is a great place for those bears and good place for us.
Definitely.
Nice.
Nice found, really good.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, you can see that. You can see that big muscle on her shoulder there.
Uh-huh.
That's a really nice way to tell a black bear from a grizzly bear, because grizzlies have that big hump on their shoulders, big digging muscles. Oh, there she goes. There she goes.
Oh, it's chasing
Did you
again.
get it? Oh. Sometimes people make it sound like it's easy for them, and it's not. You know, they miss more than they succeed. We've already seen her miss a couple times here already, you know?
Yeah.
And you notice the cubs, they're learning here. Like, you can see them taking a few runs at the fish, but at this age, their success rate at catching their own fish is probably pretty poor. Most of the time, she'll catch a fish, she'll start eating it, and the cubs will walk over and start chewing